Good morning. It's Monday, August 24th, and today we have something very unusual happening down in the Gulf of Mexico. We have two tropical storms. Marco is leading the way, and Laura is right behind him. And apparently, when Marco hits the coast along New Orleans and Houston, Texas, and maybe some parts of Alabama, it will be a tropical storm right at the cusp of being a hurricane. Laura, on the other hand, will be a hurricane when she hits the same coastline about 48 hours after. This is the first time in recorded history that we have had two hurricanes running simultaneously through the Gulf region. So this is a very unusual historical moment, and it's appropriate that it hits the nation at a time when we are in turmoil. And we don't have enough stuff to worry about right now. And also, the Republican convention is starting today. And I ranted about that yesterday, and so I have no new updates on that matter right now. So that's the latest weather report from me in a rant, and it's time to move on to some other topics. I read this disturbing blurb on the Emergency Email and Wireless Network, and it was about the pandemic. The World Health Organization is warning us that it will take 2 years to get over the socioeconomic effects of COVID-19. Nearly 23 million people have been diagnosed with the disease. And we still have about 2 years before we are able to claim victory over COVID-19. And that's the projection that was made by the World Health Organization. And they have been studying the 1918 influenza pandemic to better understand the socioeconomic effect. Now, this effect this time around is much more damaging because of globalization and the way we trade and move around the world. So when they asked the WHO officials when we would return to normal, they said it might take several months after widespread application of vaccines and booster shots. But they predict that it will take at least 2 years to get back to where we were before this pandemic started. And in this day and age, that seems like a long, long time. So let's stay smart and keep wearing our masks, and we'll get through this. And hopefully, and maybe we can beat their predicted schedule by a couple of months. That would be wonderful. Another story related to the pandemic happened on Saturday. President Trump accused members of the FDA of being part of the deep state. Of course, he provided no evidence, but he's accusing them of working to slow the testing of COVID-19 vaccines until after the November presidential election. Now, the people in the FDA are traditionally slow. They're very cautious. I've done some business with companies that got involved with them. They're a pain in the ass. But it's their history to be slow and cautious. That's what these people are supposed to do. So Trump said, whoever at the FDA is making it very difficult for drug companies to enroll people in clinical trials to test vaccines and therapies for the novel coronavirus. Of course they got to take precautions on the people they test. They want to start testing somebody who's on the verge of dying. Everybody should pass some kind of physical if they're going to be in a major test. That makes sense to me. You have to learn. To learn as much about people who are going to get the vaccine as the vaccine itself. It doesn't make any sense to attack the FDA. And on top of that, a top FDA official said he would resign if the Trump administration approved the vaccine before it was shown to be safe and effective. And maybe that's what triggered his outburst of the deep state. He said, obviously, now he never said these things, these are tweets, Obviously, they are hoping to delay the answer until after November 3rd. But we must focus on speed and saving lives. That's what Trump wrote. And he tagged the FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn in the tweet. So he was aiming his tweet right at Han. Of course, the FDA did not make any comments on this attack. So we know that drug manufacturers, in coordination with the FDA and the National Institutes of Health, are ramping up production while testing is underway in order to respond as soon as possible with a vaccine for COVID-19, which has killed nearly 800,000 people worldwide. It's amazing that the president keeps attacking loyal public servants who have probably been on their job 20 and 30 years and have served every different kind of administration we possibly could have had in that period of time. And most of them are apolitical. They don't bring their politics to the workplace. That's not what they're about. So I feel this is another unfounded attack on an organization that's not bending to his will. It's a very dangerous game the president's playing with this virus. We got off to a slow start, and there's nothing we can do about that. And most of us are learning to live with it. But the last thing we need is to start injecting people with something that is not totally tested and will kill more people than will save. So I think the president should keep his tweets to himself and pay attention to what really needs to be done, which is listening to his medical advisors and listening to other people who know the subject matter a lot better than he does. I really didn't want to rant anything about him, but it's impossible to avoid him. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the morning.